Alrighty, so we're about to take a look at my new Shadow Priest deck that I just tweaked a bit. By new, I mean I've been using it for about a week, been testing it, and I'm pretty happy with it because I made a version of it and I put up some videos and it was decent, but this is much better. So we're gonna run through the list pretty quick, and we're gonna talk about you know, what its strengths and weaknesses are, and so on and so forth. So. Holy Smite, it's just an all-around really strong card. Power Word Shield, it will explain why it's so important. I mean, it's 2 health and draw a card, so it's good, but you know, there's things that make it even better. The Cleric is a no-brainer. You get the healing per draw card or per heal you draw. Shadow Word Pain and Death, that's pretty much a no-brainer. We have Thoughtsteal. Also a no-brainer. I think it's honestly like one of the strongest cards in the game because really what this deck boils down to is controlling the game and using their deck against them. Now, a lot of that comes down to Thoughtsteal, and a lot of that comes to Mind Control and Shadow Madness. So a lot of it is that, and a lot of... Right now, this deck is also kind of designed to be an anti-priest deck, even though it's a priest deck. So it's... in a lot of ways, it's designed to kind of tear apart other priests because there's just so many priests on the ladder right now, and I'm not a huge fan of the like, you know, the popular like Holy Well and what are they called, Light Walkers, the Light Well and the Light Spawn build. Everybody's using those and they're buffing them right now. They're running through, and everybody has. I don't think Mind Vision's a great card. I mean, it's not bad, but I don't use it personally. But everybody's, you know, running with Inner Fire, and they're running with Divine Spirit, and they're buffing their Light Wells and stuff. And this deck can really use that against them because you can just steal those cards, and you have more cards that just do direct damage. So rather than relying on that, you can. I mean, you have Shadow Word Pain to get rid of the Light Wells. You have Shadow Word Death to get rid of the Light Wells as well if they get them buffed, or the Light Spawns because they start as a 5/5. So there's a lot of good stuff that works to help out there, but we're going to continue down the list a little bit more. So we have Thoughtsteal, we have the Blademaster. He comes out as a 4/7, but he does the 4 damage to himself. So I don't play him until turn 5 or turn 4 if I can cast Power Word Shield on him, because basically you want to keep him alive because the priest, you know, has a lot of trouble taking him down, and a lot of other classes have a lot of trouble taking something down with you know, 5 or more health. So when he only has 4 damage, so you can't punish him as easily in a lot of matchups. So I find this card to be really good. I try to get him back to his 4/7. I usually make him like a 4/9 and keep him there. So I only have 1 in the deck. If you want to use 2 instead of 2 bears, that would actually probably be better. The bear is kind of just to, you know, buy you some time so you can get some more cards out and, you know, steal more of their stuff. Because this is really like a turn 6 kind of deck. You really, you're gonna, a lot of matchups like against a Warlock and a Rogue and whatnot, you're gonna take some damage in the first couple rounds. Generally, I mean, you can smite their minions and stuff, and it's worth it in a lot of situations if you want to smite like a couple Murlocs to keep the Murlocs down. But I find this deck does suffer against like Murloc rush decks and stuff like that. I find that I probably have like a 40% win rate in that matchup. But almost every other matchup, it's like a 75–80% win rate. So we have the bear again. Like I said, this is a card that can be removed if I had better cards. Like if I had a second injured Blademaster, I could probably craft one at this time. But and I should probably consider that. But I would definitely opt out for not having 2 bears, and that's definitely a card that can be replaced. Shadow Madness, again, you can turn their stuff against him. Generally, you want to save this so that you can take one of their minions and sacrifice. You can, like, you know, kill 2 of his minions against each other. So if you can take like a 3/1 versus a 1/3 and trade them, you know, that's ideal. So I try not to use it just to like take his minion for a turn and then attack him, because what's the point? You're not going to get a lot done the next turn. He's going to have it back, and it's not worth spending 5 mana to do 4 damage or 3 damage or whatever, because it's just a bad trade in that sense. But definitely a good card overall, though. The Soulpriest, I choose to use the Soulpriest over Shadow Form because, well, you can see Shadow Form, it makes it permanent you know, permanent Shadow Form, and if you play the card twice, you can do 3 damage constantly with your hero ability. Now that's great and all, but I really don't think that's the best thing, because if there was a way to like switch back and forth, if you could toggle Shadow Form on and off once you played the card, that would be fantastic. I mean, I'd be all for that, and I would definitely put that card in the deck, but there's no way to do that. Sometimes healing is definitely, you know, ideal, because if you have the Cleric out, you want to be able to heal it. You want to keep your stuff alive 9 times out of 10. So this Soulpriest I usually play around turn 6, depending on the situation, because then I can start sniping some of his weaker stuff, and if he doesn't have board control, you know, I can just start doing direct damage to him. And I wait till turn 6 so that I can play the card and then immediately, you know, do some offensive damage with it. You can play it sooner if you're safe, for sure, but that's how I use that card generally. I chose the Ogre because, you know, I didn't put a lot of spell damage in this deck. I mean, spell damage is really good, but this is a 4/4, so I mean, again, that 4 is that, you know, lucky number for offensive damage, and you know, he doesn't buff a ton of your abilities, but he does buff. He buffs Holy Nova, which is great, because if you have, you know, 3 damage on, you know, AOE. That's a lot better than 2, because there's a lot more, you know, minions that have 3 health, so that's really good. And it works with Smite, so then you have 3 different Smites. If you don't get your Smites early game, you know, grab them later, so that's really nice. And we do have 1 Holy Fire in the deck. Now, the tooltip doesn't actually show up, and this is something Blizzard needs to fix, and I should probably post on the beta forums, but the tooltip doesn't update to say that it changes to 6 damage, but it does in fact do 6 damage, and it does do 5 health. That might actually be a bug, but I don't know why that would be a bug. I just think the tooltip, or, you know, the card is not properly programmed or whatever. So we got Holy Nova after the Ogres, and then Sylvanas. Now Sylvanas is another card that I put her in there because she's the best legendary I have, and that's terrible, I know. You could really sub her out for a lot of cards if you have a better legend, if you have Cruel, if you have, you know, Ysera. If you have a card that you would rather use, go right ahead. Seriously, like, swap her out. But I like her because she forces a lot of situations. She forces people to either play safe because they don't want to, like, have a certain card stolen, or they forces them to play, like, smaller minions and they wanted to save, like with a silence or something. You can force situations with Sylvanas. Now, there are better cards. But I find her useful for that, and I thought she was worth putting in the deck. And again, this is a very mind control heavy deck, and she just felt right for it, so she's in there. Again, Holy Fire, if you wanted 2 in your deck, you can. Part of the reason I don't is because I like to have the Auchenai Soulpriest, and if you have the Soulpriest out, that 5 dealing is 5 damage to you instead. So you have to remember that, and you have to be careful when you use this card. If you have a Soulpriest in play, you're going to hurt yourself. I've actually played against someone who killed himself with a Holy Fire, and I don't know if it was intentional, but I laughed a lot, regardless. So we have the Cabal Shadow Priest. A lot of people debate this card isn't that good, but it's got the 4 damage. So again, lucky number 4. The battle cry is really good because, you know, turn 6 you can start taking some of his stuff. You know, whatever it is, it's good to take. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a crappy little minion. If you're playing against a shaman that's trying to get a board full of you know, little things, and he's going to bloodlust and just try to run you down, or a hunter or something, you can really interrupt that by taking things slowly, and then he wants to pick them off because he doesn't want you to have them. So it's definitely a really good card to have in that sense. And the Temple Enforcer, I only have 1 in the deck. This is another one I really could see removing. If I had like a better legendary, I would definitely swap this card out for a better legendary, but it's a pretty solid card. I mean, I like to just give the 3 health to one of my, you know, like my Ogre or my Blademaster or something in that sense. And then, you know, finally we have Mind Control, and, you know, obviously, you know, Mind Control is like fantastic. It's just an amazing ability. You can win or lose games with it. A lot of the times, you have to have it in Priest Dittos, and again, there's at least 20% of the ladder right now is Priest. So, you know, Mind Control wards, as much as they suck, you know, they're a big part of the matchup right now. And so, I mean, again, this deck brought me to Masters in a couple days. I pretty much just started playing a couple weeks ago, so I was playing a lot of Hunter, and I'm like, alright, I want to try Shadow Priest, because the normal Priest deck is like, whatever. and it seems kind of just, I don't know. Everyone's doing it, so I didn't want to do it. I wanted to try something different with Priest. So I'm going to upload another match that I played, and you know, you can see this deck in action and whatnot. But you know, try it out. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.